Just a heads up from Babes Listen, this is a trigger warning. This podcast contains topics relating to mental health, toxic relationships, jealousy, so you may want to skip this one.
Hey! Come on!
Babes, listen. It's time to jump on into it with your pals Nat and Jess and catch up on all things women's health and fitness.
Hello and welcome to Babes Listen!
Very, very special edition today because we have a guest and we have a very special guest. Who have we got, Nat?
We have our producer, Carlos. Hey! Why aren't you clapping properly? No, I'm just kidding.
Because I want to do it too loud. We sound bad.
Just do this. Pitch perfect.
Yeah.
G'day, Carlos or Charlie.
Hello.
So the reason why we have you on today, you might be aware of this, I think I've told you last week, is there's been a request that people meet the producer because whenever we record, on the other side, he says such funny stuff, but he's just in our ears and no one hears you. So
Nothing's going to come to my head.
yeah, you'll be like, I'm not even funny today. No, but we want people to get to know you as a person as well. You know, you don't have to be funny today. Don't worry.
And we have a few different producers. We've had a few different producers, depending on who's available in the time that we record. But mostly we've had yourself, Carlos. So great to get you on this side of the glass, if you will, and like Nat said, kind of get to know a little bit more about you and maybe some of the insights that you might have to share about our podcast to those who are listening. So
producer POV.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. So shall we start with how long have you been doing this gig for?
I've been working here for a little bit over a year. So basically the year that we've been recording together, it was around the time that I started. I didn't used to live in Christchurch, so I moved to Christchurch because of this job, which was a really cool opportunity. And still to this day, the best job I have had.
Oh, wait, did you hear that?
I mean, he has to say it, really doesn't have to
are you
be
saying
awkward.
it because you've got peers here?
I'm actually not. I come from a little bit of a very different work experience before this. I was still an immigrant. I was in a work visa. I was working for some people that were... It was just not as fun as just working here, you know? And it is also the first time that I feel like I'm doing a job that does matter, because we do have, what we do here is help people put their voices on air.
Yeah.
Which I think is pretty cool.
And Nat and I have talked about that an awful lot, which is that we love that we record our podcast here and we're part of the Plains FM family because exactly that, it gives voice to those people in our community that might not necessarily get one.
Yes.
Particularly in mainstream media. So tell us a little bit more about that so that people kind of understand what the deal is.
FM's about,
Yeah, of course. So we are a community access radio station. We are actually the only community access radio station in the Canterbury region.
Oh.
It is 12 of us around the country, but we are the only ones here in Canterbury, transmitting in Canterbury. We have been doing this job for, I think, around the 90s. This station exists. And it's just really cool to see people that in a normal day-to-day wouldn't have the opportunity to do these sort of gigs. We have a big focus on minorities, on women, and we have a couple of different shows with people with different disabilities as well, which I think it's really cool accessibility to give to people, just equal opportunities as everybody else.
Yeah.
And amazing shows have gone out of that. We have a very strong focus on mental health as well, a couple of shows about that. Of course, Babes Listen being one of the ones about women and about women's health and stuff like that. Yeah, it is really cool.
We're on brand for Plains FM.
Yeah, but I do want to say, not that this was meant to be an ad for Plains FM, but I do want to say to our listeners that, if do look into the Plains FM website and look at other shows as well, because there's some incredible, they're all incredible, but there might be some that you're really interested in that you wouldn't have seen in your usual ads on Instagram or your usual ads on your browser. So do look them up.
Yeah, and what I see a lot about our shows, and it happens a lot with Babes Listen as well, is that the subjects that are talked are not usual subjects that you hear in other mainstream media.
Yeah.
So I think it also gives people an understanding of things that they may be going through, and that they are not like weird or abnormal for going through that. That there's actually people that have been going through that and are actually so past that or so confident with it that they're willing and able to talk about it publicly. So that gives people that may think that their life or some part of their lives is a little bit abnormal, a little bit weird. They're like, oh, wait, actually, no. Actually, I've just been hearing the wrong stuff.
Yeah. I'm not alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you never are. That's the thing. You're never the only one with whatever's going through in your life or in your body.
And that's definitely sort of how we reassure ourselves after we've shared something. We're like, okay, no, and Nat,
one person will take something from this, at least one, surely.
If just one person feels less alone, then I can justify having, sort of opened my heart and soul, sort of about this particular topic. So it must be really interesting then, because remind us, how many shows does Plains FM have?
I should know that exact number.
Don't worry, there was not a quiz.
But I think
I should know.
I think it's about 152 at the moment, or 160.
That's more than I realised.
Maybe
He's like, I'm new here.
Maybe 130. Yeah. Sync is like.
That's a lot of shows and a lot of voices that you're giving to people. So that's pretty epic.
And every single show plays at least once a month. That is our least regular shows play once a month, which means that at least once a month we have new content of every single show. Yeah.
That's
very
so cool.
rewarding, I imagine, too. Because you turn up for work and really have no idea what sort of conversations you're going to be hearing, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, so when you come to record us every Friday afternoon, are you like, oh boy, who's going to cry today?
I just go, let's see what this is all about.
Yes, but like, what is it like recording for us? Is it unexpected? Because we kind of sometimes tell you the topic, but we never really know where it's going to go.
Yeah, definitely a lot of other broadcasters come here with a paper or something that I can, in 30 seconds, get an idea of what's going on.
We sound like a fraud, don't we?
But
absolute fraud.
I have my iPad.
That.
Yeah, I actually think it's awesome because
for sure. Yeah.
You guys
You're
arrive
great.
here, sit down, and start recording the show. We usually never pause during the recordings either. Like, it's
unless
just like
one of us cries, right? Yeah.
Special
has to take a
situations,
time
right?
out. Yeah. Remember that time?
And by one of us, we're talking about Nat.
Whatever, you've cried too outside. I seen you.
I cried outside after the recording finished.
No, it was in between two, remember?
Oh, okay.
Were you there that day we recorded two back to back? Was it?
It's Nico.
No, that
was
was
it
Nico.
Nico?
I still feel sorry for
thank you,
Nico.
Nico.
Jeez.
I think it might have been one of his first too. That was interesting for
So
him.
you said we don't pause a lot.
No, I don't.
Well, that's
feel
good
you.
to know.
Okay, that's cool.
Like
we do
a
maybe
lot of
one
shows,
sometimes.
a lot of shows that have a big pre-production behind them, like means that like people sit down and actually like plan every single minute of the show.
Yeah.
They like doing it by parts. So it's like, okay,
Okay.
we're gonna do this first introduction part, and then they finish. We go through that. Okay, now we're gonna move
wow.
on to the. You guys just go for it. And if something weird happens, then we put a marker or we stop.
Dive
or
in.
see.
Yeah, actually, that's another thing that I think will be interesting for the listeners to hear, because, this is like producer point of view, is to, when there's something that we say where Carlos can tell that we might not be comfortable with that, or any producer will put a marker on, and then at the end, you'll be like, hey, when you mention, say, that person's name, or when you mention this, you seem like you weren't sure whether you wanted that to be shared, and then we sometimes we're like, oh, no, that's fine, or we'll be like, actually, no, I can't, that you're right, I shouldn't do that, because that might put this person in a bad light, or it reveals too much of the identity or something like that, so then we might... and then, honestly, incredible job what you all do editing, because when I listen to it, I'm like, is it going to be obvious? And then it's like seamless. And I'm like, where was the pause? Like, where
in
did
the middle
we
of
stop?
a word, just
Yeah, it's incredible how you do it, eh? Like, it's very talented.
Yeah, I'd say that's like 2 layers of things. One of them is just making sure that our broadcasters are comfortable sharing everything that they have shared. And on top of that one, of course, just because we are still broadcasting on a frequency under the government, we have to abide by the broadcasting standards as well. So anything that could be considered a confidentiality breach or defamation, anything like that. Not that you guys have ever done that, though.
That's just my swear words, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's really the only one, isn't it? It's the swearing for us. Not you specifically, but...
Excuse me, let's backtrack for a second. No, sometimes we have said things, or you've wanted to take out, like say you don't want to tell people where your kids go to school and things like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I'm
not the only one that you have to edit out,
No.
Yeah, wait.
Who has some more pauses?
Yeah. Jess, surely. Jess. No,
I wouldn't be able to say anything right now on the top of my head, but I'd say I'm going to keep it diplomatic. I'll say 50-50.
That's BS. That's absolute BS.
I actually, because I thought about asking you that question, right? And I thought, actually, who does ask for more pauses? And I thought, I think it is pretty even.
Yeah, it is for sure. Yeah. No, I'm joking. It is.
No, I think it is pretty even. I've overshared about rugby and then gone, oh, actually, no, I can't say that.
Yeah.
And I had to take it back.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Too much about my kids, and I go, oh, maybe took it too far. Given they're teenagers, maybe kind of shared a little bit too much about, sort of. I don't know, their bathroom habits, for example.
Yeah, and you don't want people to make fun of them.
Yeah, you don't want to give anybody any ammunition to attack. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True. So, okay,
50-50. Yeah. Because for me, it's the tears, and for you, it's the confidentiality.
Just sharing stuff that I shouldn't. Oversharing. I mean,
is that in your CV?
That's my MO. Yeah, pretty much.
What's another question that you think people would want to know from producer POV?
Have you ever listened to one of our have you ever produced one of our recordings and kind of thought, I don't really agree with that?
Oh, yeah, good question.
And just be honest, because I think...
Yeah, because we
have a very feminist perspective, and, that might not always align with your world experience.
Right. So, to be honest, right now on the top of my head, I couldn't think about anything, because I do feel that most of the time I do agree with what you guys are saying. I don't know if this could be one of two things. It could be that I was raised in a family like with mostly, they were basically all women, because my dad was the only other man and he was working all the time. So it was just my 3 sisters, my mom. I'm the youngest one as well. And one of my sisters is very openly feminist and has always been like defending her stand, which is really cool, especially in such a right-wing conservative country as it is Colombia.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think, when I was in my teenage years and I had like that input of my sister, I kind of like fell a little bit into a, how would you call that? Like an egocentric trap when I felt I was better because I had this point of view. And maybe using it not in the best way possible. But then that's where the second one comes from, that I think that's why I always kind of like agreeing with you guys and sharing the same points of view, is because I think that in my process of growing up, I did realize a lot of the stuff that I was doing. And a lot of the things that you talk about, I see myself, 10, 15 years ago doing the same stuff. And I was like, yeah, man, like they're absolutely right.
And actually you are very honest, because we have talked about some subjects, and when we chat after we've recorded, you'll say, actually, 10, 15 years ago, that is what I did. And I, kind of looking back now, I've sort of learned from that. When you said that egocentric kind of perspective, did you mean in terms of not seeing genders as equal, or?
I think I did. I think what happened was that because I did, and I saw that other maybe friends of mine or other men my age didn't, and I kind of like realized women kind of like it more when you do, so I'm going to use that in my behalf. Type of thing.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So it's not that I didn't, it's that I maybe was focusing it for the wrong reasons.
Interesting.
Right. Oh, that's so interesting. I've never thought of it like that.
Like a
Player, you know, just like it sucks.
What's the word? I guess player, maybe. You're a player. That's so interesting. I've never thought of it that men could do that to get girls.
Yes.
Not in that way, but I definitely know when some young men learn that if you listen to women, you'll go far, and you know their objective of listening is not necessarily to hear, but
I guess true. But I guess you used it to your own advantage, but you did believe it.
Yeah, I still believed in it. I just thought it came from an arrogant, an arrogant point of view where I felt I was like, I don't know, superior than any man that
When
wouldn't
did
think
you
about
realize that? Like,
maybe
how old?
my late 20s, I would say, like maybe 25, 26. It was a point of my life where I was mostly alone. I was living in the States. I was basically, my job involved traveling a lot. I used to do like 150 or 200 miles a day of just driving.
what did you do?
What?
I used to be a salesman.
Oh,
Yeah. So I used to live basically in my car, and I would just spend the nights in motels in different towns.
Oh, wow.
So it was like 6 months, 8 months where I was like completely alone. I had a lot of like time to just like be introspective, deal with my anger, because that was the other thing. I feel I had a lot of anger issues, and being alone with myself, I kind of like permitted myself to just like be it. And then there was a moment where I said like, nah, man, like I need to reintegrate with society. I can't be like this. We gotta see how these things are changing. And then when I came back to Colombia and started like, I don't know, like, having conversations with my old friends or with other people or with new people, I kind of like realized like, I started seeing things that I used to do on them that I wasn't agreeing. So I was like, something's weird here, because 5-10 years ago
That was me.
I would have been like, oh yeah, that's normal. But then I'm like, no, it's not really normal, you know? Yeah.
So in that period alone, 6 to 8 months, you would have done so much growth.
It was just like, I was the only person I could talk to, you know?
Yeah.
So I was just like be driving in my car and just like thinking.
So many thoughts.
I started thinking out loud, like to try to pretend that I was having a conversation as well. So I would just be driving in my car, thinking out loud, replying to myself, and starting to ask myself like a little bit of uncomfortable questions. And now that I remember what you were saying before, Jess, about like us having nice open conversations at the end of the show, I honestly don't think that is me. I honestly think that comes from the show, because I wouldn't open myself after any show or just to anybody. I just feel like you guys are being so open and so honest, and it's like, you know, why not? It feels like a safe space to do it. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
I think
to hear.
that's two-way though, you know, the fact that we can come in here and be so vulnerable and be so open is that it's always felt like such a safe space here. And I think particularly yourself, you know, sort of allows that as well.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really important in order to be able to share. It is quite weird though sometimes when we leave here and
We feel so vulny.
yeah, you know, like yeah.
But that's really nice to hear that you feel like, you know, comfortable enough to share and with us, and I think that's how some of our listeners feel as well, because they do share things with us, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes we've you know done episodes where we've had to pause and where you're like, sorry, but like, what the hell? Like, I can't believe that happened to you.
Oh,
you know, like you're always so supportive, you know, and you're like, just side note, like that's not all good, you know. You know, so it's always really supportive, and it's always such a like just a really comfortable environment to share, really, because we're like, oh well, he backs me up. I'm not being weird for sharing that. It's important. Okay, I'll carry on, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely feel 100% that everything you guys share is very important for everybody that listens. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. The episode that comes to mind when you were describing that sort of like, you know, when we pause and you're like, I can't believe that happened. This is, you know, yourself. I can't believe that happened. Is the
Not
one
that your voice is like that. I can't believe. Sorry, carry on.
is the one where Nat shared that about the stalker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know if we gave you a heads up that that's what we were talking about.
I don't think we did because I was like,
I think you mentioned something
I?
before you started about a stalker, but I was like, oh, but I didn't know like the
everybody has stalkers, and you're like, whoa, okay, she did.
I was kind of like thinking, oh, they're gonna talk to like this happened to a friend or this happened to somebody I know, and then it was like, oh no, this just like happened to me.
Like
it was
yesterday,
this constant.
happened like yesterday. What's happening now?
I think it was
He actually followed me here. It was really
yeah,
weird.
he's just outside. He's chilling. It's fine. I can talk about it. You're looking at me like, you okay with this? I'm fine. Don't worry.
No, but I think it was only about a month after it had happened, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
It wasn't a huge amount of time because something.
Do you not think I was talking about it a little bit while it was happening though?
Yes.
I think I was, because I think I remember being like, my week's been absolutely out the friggin' gate. I'm not even living at home at the moment.
I do have a memory about that, and I think that was about the time that I was starting. So I believe that Laura or Pia were still recording you guys more than me, because in that transition was very close after that transition was when that episode came up when I stopped and I was like, I can't believe this happened to you. Like what?
Yeah,
This is insane.
Yeah, that was wild times.
And sharing the thing is, I guess we also like to keep our podcasts kind of relevant to what we're experiencing at the time. So something we talked about is that we are trying to stay away from doing something called packaged vulnerability, which is talking about having gone through a difficult experience or being vulnerable in some way, but telling it as this happened to me in the past and I'm okay now. You know, that's sort of like it's all wrapped up in a nice bow. I think what can
We don't do that.
we don't do that, and that can actually be quite challenging is because we're sharing, you know, like
As it's happening.
Yeah. Like I shared last week that I'm struggling with the whole perfectionist thing. That's very relevant for me at the moment. And I remember last week at one point I got quite emotional talking about it. And
We left it in though.
Yeah. But I looked through and you were just looking at me with the most incredible care. It was, you know...
Which made it worse because, you know.
Exactly. That's,
even Carlos feels my pain.
I know. It tipped me over the edge. But,
How dare you?
yes. Yeah. But, you know, I think the stalker episode is the most kind of extreme version of this is actually happening in my life right now. Which,
And even like sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I look back to look at the quality of what it was back then, and you can see just like how over time I've changed, even in terms of like my posture, my skin. Like, oh my Lord, my skin had flared up even more because of it.
That's right.
And I would wear a
so
hat
stressed.
as well because I didn't want him to find me. So there's so many episodes where you see me just with a hat, and also because I'm so embarrassed of my skin, you know, to bad quality to good quality now. 4K.
That's when you were just getting to know us. So you just kind of started and you're like, whoa.
Yeah,
This is
but
heavy.
what you guys are mentioning right now about discussing the things that you are living at the moment and not something that it seems like it's past me, it's beyond me, and it's a problem that I already put behind. I think that is another reason why your listeners may feel a little bit more in touch with you, because it does feel, I don't know, when somebody comes out any sort of commercial sort of type of thing, and it's like, I used to be this and now I'm not, and you can be like me, and I don't really believe you, man. Like, you know, like I don't know if you are really, you know, like it's
Like, is this a business opportunity for
exactly.
you? Yeah.
Whereas if it's something that you may say, oh yeah, this is something that I'm actually struggling at the moment, it does give a little bit more, I don't know if hope is the correct way of going about it, but you know, like I've noticed this a lot about like mental health stuff, where people are always like, oh yeah, I used to be depressed, oh yeah, I used to be anxious, but just don't worry about it. And it's like, I would like to hear somebody that says, oh yeah, I'm actually struggling with that right now, but I'm working to get better, because I think that's where we are all. Like, magically get cured of anxiety or stuff like that.
Exactly.
It's, we're all working on it, and when people approach it to you with that end, with the end of I'm also struggling with it, but I've done some things that have helped me, and they may help you as well. It's different than the person that says, "Oh, I was like that, but then I did this, and that other thing, and now I'm great." It's like
That's the voice too. yeah. And also when you share it that you're still in it or you're still going through it and trying to make things better, it doesn't make the person that's going through it as well a failure, because if they're like, well, what, I've been in this, dealing with this for
How
like
come it's not better for
years.
me?
How come it's not better for me and it's better for them?
Yes.
I must be failing
Yeah.
at this
It must be
life
me.
thing. Yeah, it must be
definitely
me.
be me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why I think the things, especially the things that you've shared with your past, your history with, eating disorder has opened so many conversations with so many people around the gym, on our Instagram and all that. People saying, I relate to that so much. Yeah.
I think this is an interesting transition for society too, in terms of mental health, where we have gone from, if you struggle with mental health issues, anxiety, depression, that you keep that quiet.
Yeah.
So we've gone from it being something you absolutely do not talk about to now you can talk about it, but it's packaged. So you can talk about it kind of so long as you've got like a happy ending, so that the person who's listening then knows what to do with it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you got through that. This move now, I think we're, like you say, talking about it while it's challenging, and being brave enough to do that allows other people to kind of come in as well and not feel like you say, Nat, which is, if I'm still struggling with it, then I'm failing. If I don't have a happy ending to tell people, I've overcome this, then I still can't talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
exactly,
I think this it's such a healthy shift, but it's maybe not shifting as quickly as would be helpful for people.
And also, in all fairness to people going through it, it's not the most comfortable thing to share it when you're deep in it.
No.
It is not. It is not. And because media is showing you that the people that talk about it are people that have been through it, then you don't want to talk about it. But when you hear more real, down-to-earth programs like Babes Listen, that you're like, oh, they're actually going through it right now. It's okay to talk about it while we're going through it. Yeah.
And hard to talk about it.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be easy, right?
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be easy.
Yeah, it can be uncomfortable, and you know what I mean?
I feel like we've had so many trigger warnings for that reason. Because
This
we're
will
like,
be another one.
oh, will it? Do you think?
I don't know. Well, we're talking about mental health, I guess.
maybe.
We'll put a trigger just in case.
Okay.
Yeah. Which show has the most trigger warnings?
Oh, maybe you don't have to say the actual name of the show.
Do you have a show that has a lot of trigger warnings that's
No,
not
I-
our show?
No, I think they are very sporadic, just like it happens with you
Yeah.
guys. Like when
Yeah.
we determine, like, maybe a person hearing this, especially if they jump into the half of the broadcast or something like that without the context, it can be a little bit more dangerous. So we have to cover ourselves, and the podcast has the trigger warning so people can go and see the whole episode with the trigger warning and all of that stuff. Yeah. It is good also for just people. It is also respectable when people don't want to talk or hear about the stuff that they are going through. So I think, trigger warnings are really good with that. We don't really have any show that has like a constant one or permanent ones.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's just like sporadic ones here and there.
I remember the earthquake one that we did where we interviewed my cousin, and I remember someone saying to me that in hearing the trigger warning, they decided to skip the episode because they'd been through the earthquake.
And that's what it's for.
Exactly.
Perfect.
And this is someone who listens every single week.
Yeah.
And, was just like, actually, I'm just going to skip it just for my own well-being.
Yeah.
I'm going to skip it.
Yes,
So,
and that doesn't mean that they're not gonna come back and revisit it when they feel comfortable.
yeah.
Yeah, it's there, it exists, so people can come back and try to revisit it then. A lot of things are about timing as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, preparation and timing, I think, are the two key things in life.
So just to backtrack a little bit, grew up in Colombia,
I did, yes.
youngest of 4, 3 older sisters.
Yes.
salesperson in the States? Like,
Yes.
how'd you get to that?
Well, I can't talk a lot about it because I'm not even going to say what visa I was in. But
That's fine. I mean, she's shared a whole lot about her history.
I think we've heard an episode about it, but about
Hey.
like,
Me
stuff
and
like that.
workplaces.
But yeah, I ended up in the States in a good opportunity for selling things that I was actually employed in a Paraguayan company and I was working for them. It was nothing like bad or anything, but I did have to go to the States here and there to just like visit customers and see their stock. I did that for a while. It did become very lonely and I did wanted to like go back to society a little bit, have a little bit more
fair.
stability. So the same company offered me to work on their headquarters in Paraguay. So I was
Okay.
like, I've never lived in Paraguay. Let's go there. So I stayed there for like 6 months, 8 months as well.
And then,
And then I was thinking, because I had left Colombia in 2015 and I was just like with the plan of staying somewhere else. I didn't want to go back. But my plan had always been trying to look for what we wrongfully refer to as the first world. And I felt like Paraguay was still a third world country, just like Colombia. So I was a little bit more comfortable there than in Colombia. But I was thinking in the future, all of the same third world problems are going to come back, like difficulty for the health system, non-subsidized education or health and stuff like that. So I did wanted to go to the first world. Of course, we talk about the first world, but the States has none of that. But anyway, so in my mind, it had always been either England or Australia. And when I started talking to the agency that was going to help me, when I defined, okay, I'm going to go to Australia, and blah, 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 and they started asking me some questions. Basically, the first question was, are you going to go to study because you want a postgraduate degree and then come back to Colombia and work on that? Or do you want to go to study because it's the easiest way to migrate as a Colombian? And I was like, yeah, that one, the second one. So they told me like, okay, in Australia, unfortunately, the things are changing a lot and they're starting to deny a lot of the visas. People that have been in the process of trying to become residents through studying are seeing themselves having to return home. What do you know about New Zealand? So I was like, what do I know about New Zealand? Well, I know The Lord of the Rings and The Flight of the Conchords.
oh,
was
was
that
that
it?
Flight of
Was
the
that it?
Conchords?
Yeah.
What about kiwi?
No.
The kiwi, the All Blacks?
No. We have kiwi fruit in Colombia. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah, not that important.
She's talking about the bird, but
No,
yeah.
Yeah,
not
I was
kiwi,
talking about
not,
the kiwi
not the
bird.
kiwi bird, not the kiwi people, not just the kiwi
Cool.
fruit in Colombia as a fruit. That was
Just Lord of the Rings and Flight of the Conchords. I love
yeah.
that.
But I started reading about it and I started seeing some videos about it and I was like, this country is absolutely amazing. You know, like it's awesome. Yeah. And yeah, I haven't regretted it. I think one of the only things that I don't like is the absolutely expensive cost of living.
Oh,
I agree.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Yes.
Budgeting is so boring.
Oh, it's so hard, you know.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, but you know, like I think it was last week that I was just watching a sunset and it was just so pink and purple, and I was like, this is why I live in this country. You know, it's just so absolutely beautiful and peaceful. Yeah,
Oh, that's such a cool story.
yeah. Do you get
Yeah.
homesick though?
I do get homesick, especially because it's been 6 years and I haven't been to Colombia.
Yeah.
My first planned trip was on December 2020, so
Hey,
yeah.
that little COVID-y thing happened.
I do have tickets to go to Colombia in October, which is really, really exciting. It's been 6 years, so I think
Oh,
it's...
so you are going.
Yeah,
Yay!
it's long overdue, so I'm going in October. It's going to be great.
And your whole family is there?
One of my sisters lives in the States, but she's taking some days off because, we're going to meet in the north of Colombia, which is the Caribbean. We're going to meet there for a week, so we're all
Nice.
together. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Question: having lived in New Zealand for how long now?
For 6 years.
6 years. What do you notice are the biggest differences between Colombian people and Kiwis? Any cultural kind of differences?
Especially because you're in a very people job.
Yeah.
I think Latinos in general are very transparent, so they would just tell you what they're thinking. Whereas I think Kiwi people are more like, oh no, that's not polite.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Something I hear all the time.
So it's a bit of a passive aggressiveness, politeness that sometimes I get here because people just don't talk about something because it's not polite. It's like, I don't know, the racism problem in this country. I think it all comes down to that. Oh, it's just not polite to talk about it. No, man, we gotta talk about it. You know? Yeah. But Colombians would be more upfront with everything, and that was definitely a cultural clash for me at the beginning here. I was like, okay, I gotta stop. I gotta learn to shut
Really?
up.
Did you change the way you communicated because you were like, oh, people don't talk about that?
Yes, and I changed a lot my affection because New Zealand is very European in its affection. It's like we don't touch each other, we don't, like tough stuff like that. I used to greet everybody with a hug or with a kiss, stuff like that. I guess COVID changed that now for everybody.
Yeah.
Sink is agreeing with me because he's from India. He knows what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Do you know what though? In France, how we do the
the
2 or
double
3
cheek.
kisses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I know. It's full on, right? When you know everyone around the table, you have to get around it, and oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Quick question, sorry. Where do you do 2 and why do you do 3? Why 2? Why 3?
Well, I think that's more European, more French.
Oh, okay.
Because us in Latin America is basically, saying that, because it could be French, Italian, because the Argentinians do that in Latin America. And I think Chileans and Uruguayans as well, which have a little bit more Italian on them.
Yeah.
But us in the north of South America, which is just like Spaniards and Native American mixture, which is more the Spaniard culture, we kiss, so man and woman, a kiss in the cheek. Women and women, a kiss in the cheek. Man and man, hand.
Okay.
Oh, so just one kiss.
Yeah.
Wow, that saves a lot of time.
What about France?
It does.
Yeah.
So France, it depends where you are.
Love this.
No, it's so boring. It's like, how many times do you kiss in that place? I'm going there. Like, come on, can we just go with one rule?
Explain.
And also, different schools. Yeah. So, because I went to, I know, crazy, right? So, this school might do 3 kisses, this school might do 2.
Wow.
And it was also, more like a, I don't know, we do it this way, type of thing.
Like a secret handshake kind of.
Yeah, it was a
Right.
bit like that. Private schools were a bit different as well. I think private school was 3 or something, and I was public, and, it just depends on where you are. Depends on where you are in France. I think it's just 2 in the south. I just do 2. But you know what? Love it in terms of, the affection and stuff. It's awesome. Good. Great. The thing is, though, it takes so much time. Every time I go back, and I hope none of my French friends and family listen to this, but you go in and you know everyone.
Yeah.
You have to kiss everybody.
Yes.
By the time, you can't just nip in and out, you have to go around everybody, blah, blah, blah. And then also for me that I'm a bit of a hygiene freak, and so aren't you? We've connected on that.
Yes.
You've got a lot in common.
Yeah, we do actually.
Yeah, the two of you had
a lot of the time we try and see whose back he's got, and I'm like, oh yeah,
Always
got my
Nats.
back.
Always Nats.
But so that as well, because sometimes you'll have to say if you're introduced, I'm like, hey Jess, meet this person, you'll kiss. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a fake kiss. You don't actually kiss the person on the cheek. You just
it's like
cheek
here.
to cheek.
Like here.
You just put your cheek on that person's cheek, and then you make the noise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. That's the one.
We're not even doing it. No, love it. I love France. I can't wait to go back. I'm so excited.
Not long now.
Yeah, and
are you
same
going
for
as
you.
well?
You're going back home. Yeah.
Where are you going?
September.
When are you going? September. Oh, there you go.
Yes,
almost
so
the same time.
excited.
No, but
So
I definitely relate to what you mean, arriving, especially when you arrive late. Because I don't know if it's the same in France, but the one who arrives says hello in Colombia. If you're in a party and this person arrives, they have to say hello to everyone.
To everyone. Yeah, go around. Yes. Yeah.
So,
yeah, you're right,
yeah.
actually. Wow.
So that was the other cultural clash here for me. It was you arrive somewhere and you just stand there. That's it, you're here. It's this is so weird. I didn't say hello to anybody, and then you just you want to leave, and you just turn around and go. You don't say anything. And I was like, what? What? Anyway.
When you put it like that, it sounds weird.
So because you said Latinos would be more expressive.
Yeah.
I feel like particularly Christchurch quite
Go on, let it out, sis.
not that way. A little
I definitely felt
you know what I mean?
more in Christchurch.
Emotionally hold back a lot.
Yeah. Wellington was a bit easier for me with that.
Yeah. I feel like it kind of maybe.
But why do
particularly
you think
Christchurch.
that is?
Oh, I don't know. I know of Christchurch that it was definitely set up as, sort of the an English town. You know, it was sort of everything that people who moved here from England wanted their home place to be. That's what Christchurch kind of became. Like, so it's quite conservative and, you know, all of that.
I see that distinction a lot between South and North Island, because I feel South Island is way more European.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But you've got the insight to hear from lots of different parts of our community in doing this.
That is really cool about that, and that I don't. We interact with everybody, you know, like it's not just white Europeans. We interact with everybody here. Every single culture. I don't know how many different languages we have on air at the moment. It's quite a lot of them. So it is really cool. You know, hearing different perspectives, different things. Yeah, always really nice.
Have you ever recorded a podcast and it's a perspective that you do not agree with?
I do.
Okay, I love your honesty. Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, and how...
That's as much as I can say about that, though.
Okay. No, that's cool.
Did you see me?
I like that. But how do you manage it?
Yeah, how do you manage it?
Yeah, don't give us details, but like, how do you manage those feelings?
Well, the first thing that will always get triggered with somebody that is talking about a different opinion that you have, I think the first thing that you instinctively do is try to see where or how that person is wrong.
Okay.
So I would fact check maybe, and even if
you'll Google.
Yeah, I'll be Googling there, like is what I'm hearing actually true, or at least has it been like published in a truthful way, even if it's not proven or anything, like more of an actual thing, peer reviewed actual thing. And if I do find that what they're talking about, it is actually peer-reviewed and is published and stuff like that, and it's public knowledge, then I'll be like, I guess I just don't share it. That point of view. Yeah,
I don't share that point of view. Yeah, because I guess it's one of the requirements, right, to the things that we say on
we
here.
We have to make sure that it's true.
That it's true.
Yes.
Any kind of facts, they have to be true. Yeah.
Because I think COVID was an interesting time.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't here for that, but I got like the outs of it, and like the outs of it, and I do know that a lot of the programs, especially because it's where it comes to the question about free speech versus censorship versus PC-ness versus wokeness, you know, like how much can I really say without stepping in somebody's beliefs or stepping into somebody's, I don't know, disrespecting somebody, you know, stuff like that. And I do know that some of the shows that were being broadcasted at that time may have gotten a little bit derailed by the subject of COVID. Yeah.
Particularly around vaccinations.
I can totally see that coming too, though. Like that would have happened for sure.
Yeah, well, as I tell you, I was lucky that I did start it in 2022. So I think most of that was already gone. Which was great. It was a bit relieving because I don't know about you guys. I'm still trying to process 2020 and 2021.
Oh yeah.
We're already in 2023, so.
Oh yeah, it's June. It's winter.
Yeah, it is.
It's midway. It's halfway through the year.
So, today is the first. No, today is the second.
Second.
Yeah. We're recording in second, but this plays on Monday. Just FYI.
Yeah.
Friday recording for Monday.
Because I remember Kate and I talking yesterday because it was the 1st of June, and I saw the date and I was like, oh, it's the beginning of the middle of the end, or no? What is it?
That's very dark.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the end of the middle or something like that.
21st of June is the shortest day. 21st of June, shortest day.
Winter solstice.
So is that what you're referring to? You are referring to something particularly dark.
Well, I was just 100% referring to June is the 6th month, which is the middle.
Oh yeah.
So the last day of June is actually the middle of the year.
Yeah.
So this is the beginning of the end of the middle.
It's gone very fast, hasn't it?
It has gone very fast, yeah.
It's gone, and I always feel so old when I say that. The other thing that makes me feel really old, I was hanging out washing today and I was like, gosh, this is good weather for clothes drying. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, Jess, I've been like that
middle-aged.
Yeah, I don't remember how many years I've been waking up and it's like, oh, so sunny, I'm going to put a load on now. You know, like,
Wow.
I don't think that's old though. That's as soon as you leave home, pretty much.
So it's just adulting?
Yeah. And
Okay.
it sucks. I agree. It sucks. I bought a lawnmower. I don't want to spend money on it. I don't want to mow the lawns. I don't want to have to think about that. That's adulting.
What have you been doing before you bought the lawnmower?
His dad is really great. He's really great. He's been, and I think he'll still do them, but using ours, so that he doesn't have to bring his now.
There you go. You just made it easier.
I will do
to
it
provide.
sometimes. I will do it sometimes. I said to Essie I'll do it this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, because I've been working so much, and Essie's like, I'm looking after the whole house, and I'm like, yeah, like, sis, I call him sis, he calls me bro. I'm earning some dollars here, okay? I'm doing the hard yards.
Bring them all
this
up.
weekend I'm not working. I'm gonna do some gardening. I actually can't think of anything worse. Can you?
Oh, no, I can't.
I'd rather clean the house. I'd rather clean it through and through than get into the garden. No interest. That and cooking. Oh, cooking I'd rather cook.
I'll do the garden and cook if somebody worries about everything else. Like washing my clothes and the dishes is it's an absolute nightmare. It's just like
It's just boring.
it's the never-ending story, man. It's just like
Yeah, tell me about it. I want to see. I think I talk about it too much, and that's too much
especially because you
adulting.
guys do like a lot of sports and Easy as well,
Yeah.
and Greg as well. So you guys must have a lot of like different
Washing
oh my God.
every single day, and I'm always like, why am I folding this? I'm literally gonna grab it tomorrow to wear it again. It's like a never-ending cycle, and I'm stuck in this loop, and I don't want to be in it. Like I want to hop out. Washing, hang it out, dried, fold in the cupboards, wear again. Washing, wear it out. Like stop.
Yes, it is.
Wouldn't it be great to have a maid? And you
Well, no. What I've thought is a
Yes.
robot that does it all.
There you go.
It's coming, and I want it to be the one that has something to do with it, so I can make millions.
Yeah, please, whoever is listening, build ChatGPT a buddy.
Yeah.
So we can
And
actually
a
use
thing,
them.
you chuck your clothes in, and it does at least the washing, the drying, and
the
the
folding.
folding.
Yep, and you just have to
and
put
then
it away.
goes through your walls in your house and goes into your cupboard.
Yeah. And
All your extra cupboard there, maybe.
It's caring about the lunch as well at the same time.
Yeah,
Nice
and
doing
it's
lunch.
making you lunch at the
Making you
same
lunch,
time.
yeah.
What a brilliant robot.
Yeah.
It would just free up so much time to do stuff that actually really matters to you, like watching Netflix.
Yes.
Is it really?
Yeah, reading that fiction book that I haven't finished, you know?
This is it. This is it. Priorities, you know?
Yeah.
How did we get on to like boring
Washing?
adulting?
It's because you said you felt old or something.
Oh yeah, weather.
Yeah, weather.
Halfway through the year.
There you
Any
go.
POV stuff though? What's like an episode where you've laughed or that's been really funny that comes to mind, or that's been really sad? Hopefully not many. Or that's been really, I don't know, something outrageous.
Well, I think I laugh on every single one. Just because it just happens. Yeah.
Party with me. Up top.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. And I don't really remember the specific episode or episodes because it's been more than once. But I do remember a couple of times feeling a little bit triggered by the.
Zoe,
It's great. It's a.
what was that? So sorry.
I really don't remember right now. I think one of them just because it is one thing that I am currently struggling with, but yeah, it's not really like.
You don't have to explain yourself. We're in it
Yeah,
too.
yeah, sorry. But
We're in the
yeah, like
trenches.
one of them was you guys were talking something about like relating to jealousy, and I'm like, wow, I'm actually going through that right now, so it's
Yeah.
a bit triggering. And then other things were like about toxic like mannerisms and things that people usually have that I did recognize that I had before.
Energy drainers.
Yeah, energy drainers. That was the one.
Was it the one?
Yes, yes.
Why?
Well, because I did feel like I had this partner when I was we lasted a very long time. It was like for 7 years from we were 17 to 24,
Wow.
and it's been the longest relationship I've been. And I always had a memory of it, but then when I was alone in the States and like doing a lot of the introspection and stuff like that, I did realize that a lot of my behavior was actually really, really bad. And yeah.
But that's cool that you realised that.
Yeah, I guess it's the
know?
first step, right? Just like, acknowledge it and just try to
Yeah.
move on from that.
Sorry we triggered you.
Hey, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure with the jealousy one, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it to you guys as well, because I was reading a book about it at the moment. I think I mentioned the book. Yeah. But yeah, it's just been like a little things that are triggering, but it is actually really useful for me because it's like, well, I'm not wrong. I'm changing the things that I should actually change.
Yeah,
You know?
and you're aware of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Good growth mindset, Carlos.
Yeah, I mean, that's
We
that's
talk
what
about
it's
that a
all
bit,
about.
don't we?
But that's an amazing perspective to have, is because you could choose to ignore that, or you take responsibility for maybe where you could have behaved differently, learn from it, like own it, and then learn from it and move forward. That's cool. That's growth.
Yeah, which definitely wasn't my focus. I don't know, 10 years ago. Different things, different moment in life. But yeah, right now it's all about that. So I think that's another reason why I enjoy the show so much. It's like, oh yeah, there
That's
you go.
cool.
Yeah.
So
if
no funny
this was
stuff.
10 years ago, you guys would have called me out, which I love.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel anybody did. Like, and
Right.
that was part of the problem as well.
Do you feel like the energy would have been a little bit different?
Well, I
You
think
know what I mean?
She's
like
trying
here
to be
recording
gossy.
like here recording the show. You mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have been just like muting it. No, I'm kidding.
I'm not listening to these feminist girls.
Here come the feminists again.
Oh, not them again.
Oh man. So no, yeah, but definitely it's been really important, and I also reckon, like, I don't know if this is too much or whatever.
Nah, it's never too much.
Never
Bring
too
it on.
I also reckon that grabbing little excuses that happen on your day-to-day to try to justify you growing, it's good, even if they come from an external place. Like for me, it is very hard for me to try to focus on my growth just thinking of me as me. Like, oh, I'm just gonna grow because of me. It's kind of like, I get bored and I'm like, I might as well just play this video game. It's more fun, But for the last year or so, maybe 6 months or so, my focus has been in my relationship. So that's why my focus has been on the jealousy, because I feel it's just not fair for her. So I need to be able to give her what's fair, type of thing. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very mature.
Yeah, that is very mature. Just so you know, this is therapy for us too. When we record, we therapize each other and we get therapy as well. So we get a lot of therapy.
Sounds like it's a win-win for everybody. I had a very cool moment, side note, walking home from uni yesterday, right? And there was this girl sort of running towards me, and I moved out the way so that she could keep running. I'm like, you
go girl.
You stick with your training goals. And she had some AirPods in, and then I actually recognised that I went to school with her, right? So I was like, Rachel, and she was like, I'm listening to you right now. And I was like, what? And she said, I'm listening to your podcast.
Shout out, Rachel.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm listening to your podcast right now. And then I was like, let's see if that's actually true. And I was like, which podcast are you listening to? And she said, the recent one. Nat's just talking about being like a massive diva. And I was like,
Jess always quizzes people, and I'm always like, yeah, that's great. And I don't even want to know if they're lying because I don't want to be disappointed. I'm like, yeah, thank you for listening. You probably just follow our page and watch the reels, and that's not listening. That's just the reels. Anyway, we need to wrap this up.
yeah.
High five up top.
Woo.
Hey. Yeah, microphone. Any last words, Carlos?
No, I guess just like, thank you for having me today. It was really nice being in this side of the glass, having the talking for once. I don't know if I overshared, but I guess you guys feel like
it was
that
great.
at the end of any of
I loved
all
it.
of them as well.
Did you love it?
I think it was fantastic. And if you feel vulnerable, you're
We're
right
here
on
for
track.
you. Yeah.
There you go. And this is the idea, right? So hopefully, I'm guessing most of your listeners are. Maybe I'm assuming wrong. Maybe a lot of men do listen. But if somebody does listen to this, feels like it's in their same situation, it's just like, it happens, right? It's normal. We're all there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's for, to help at least one person. Shall I wrap up? You happy? Okay. Thank you so much for listening. Follow us on Babes Listen, otherwise you're missing out at Babes Listen. Follow it now. Go on Instagram, open it. Bye.